Today's project is going to be again part of a video event, and this hop is all about napkin art. I really like to work with napkins, and so I invited 5 other artists to join me to create some mixed media napkin collages. And the rules are very simple. We each will combine the design of at least 3 different napkins, and here you can see the 3 I chose. We will also incorporate at least 2 different type of mediums, and we can work on any substrate we like. I also did not specify a theme, so you should be able to see a nice variety of ideas, and more about that in a moment. First, I want to show you the substrates I chose for today. It's a large and a small record. And my first step will be to cover both of these in a couple of coats of white gesso. Here they're done and they're all dry. And now I can start working with my first napkin. Of course, you always have to take the white layers off so that the colorful layer will attach really well to your substrate. I try to center it, and it's pretty easy to do because, well, the record has a hole right in the middle. So I use some matte medium and I glue it down relatively flat, but I don't mind a few wrinkles. Now this a bit abstract and colorful napkin will of course be my background, and it will give me a nice starting point for any mediums I will be adding later on. The other 2 napkins have a bit more of a vintage style. Napkins are always rather fragile, so gluing it down a piece at a time is a lot easier, and you can position it much better that way. So as soon as this part is done, I will go on to my little record, and I had the idea of cutting in a small window. So I'm just outlining it and started it with my X-Acto knife, but actually finished it by using my hot wood burning tool because the record was a lot more stubborn than I anticipated. So here it's done, but of course the edges got a bit melted, so I smooth them down with my sanding block. I also add a bit more gesso to it. Next, I will be working on my second napkin. I cut out one of those nice vintage world maps, and I do have to do a little repair because a couple of the edges were fused together to the next image. So I just use a couple of pieces of border designs from the rest of the napkin to finish the world map I want to use in my project. Now, whenever I do these type of repairs with napkins, and I will do more of them later on, I leave the white layers on the biggest piece, as that makes everything a little bit less fragile until my repairs are done, but then I remove it because otherwise everything glues together and you don't want that to happen. So a little adjustment, and then I let this dry completely before attaching it to my small record, and I can go back to the bigger one, which is really dry by now, and I use my sanding block to take off the edges. It works really well and gives you a nice smooth edge. Now, as you can see here, the world circle is not quite big enough to cover the whole small record, so I will be using some of the leftover pieces from the background to fill in the gap. Now, this step was definitely a bit fiddly as I only had small leftover pieces to work with, but it was just enough. And now from here on, I will be doing more gluing, more repairing napkin images, and so on. So I think my process will be very easy for you to follow. So please enjoy a little bit of music until I get back with you. And like always, if I use any mediums, there will be in the captions. Now, please don't forget that there are links below in my description box. So when you're done with my video, please follow the lineup so you can see what everybody else created. And you may be surprised who is part of our hop today. There are some rather well-known channels. There are also some smaller ones, but we all appreciate your views and your comments, and please subscribe if you like what you see. So I talk to you in just a wee bit. Enjoy. So the last thing I did was adding the clock mechanism, and now my project is done and I finally have a cool looking clock for my art room. I rather like the stronger colors in the background together with the more faded vintage images. Of course, I think it's great. It functions as a clock. It has some dimension. And I'm also happy I was able to include a little bit of steampunkish assemblage, which you can see right here through the window. I really hope you enjoyed watching me put this together and it gave you some ideas. And I know you will enjoy following the links below to all the other videos. So that's all for today. I'll see you soon again, and bye bye for now.